Hey all, my name is Chelsea and I hope you feel at home here. And today we're going to talk about spring, specifically how we can refresh our homes for the new season and get ready to decorate in a fresh and new way. I love spring. Spring is the physical representation of a whole new season and specifically of new life and growth, literally. And it's hard not to let that hope and that joy sink in and express itself in different ways. I feel like in recent years, spring has been taken over, just like everything else, with the desire to buy new things in order to welcome in the season. This feels really similar to Christmas to me. The stores are full of spring candy and spring clothes and spring decor. And if you go online, every single influencer is doing the same thing. They're telling you what the newest spring fashion trends are, what the best fabrics are to buy for your clothing, the best candies to buy for a memorable holiday season, and are so generous to have a link so that we can buy it easily. So once again, it feels like another part of our lives has been consumed by consumption. Even something that is just a literal season of the year has been taken over by this idea that we have to buy more things in order to celebrate it and to embrace it. But we don't have to buy things so that it feels special or that we feel like we're taking advantage of every single moment. As I get older, I really am enjoying more of the simple things in life, and a lot of times those things are free or inexpensive and are just reminders of being present. And I feel like the way that I embrace the seasons or the holidays is starting to embrace that a lot more. Personally, during the spring, I tend to come back to 3 different themes that remind me of what this season is about: nature, refreshment, and the future. These are all just really basic things that I've come to that have been long lasting in my life, and they kind of show themselves through the seasons, and this is how they work in springtime. In the theme of nature, I always take the time to propagate my plants. I got really into propagation during 2020 when I had a lot of plants and not a lot of anything else to do. So I got really into propagation, and that's what I do every spring now. I have a lot of plants that need cutting and they need to be propagated. And then I have friends who will often take them off my hands. This year I'm actually in a garden club and we do a plant swap in the spring, and so I'm excited to actually have something to contribute. I feel like it also gives me a moment to focus on my plants inside and kind of take stock in where they are. Do I need to clean them up a bit? The propagation naturally is part of that with cuttings and everything. Does anyone need to be repotted? Do I need to split anything? Do I need to support anything? Do I need to move my plants around so they get better sunlight or less sunlight? And this kind of gives me a touch point so that I can see where all my plants are health-wise, and I just look forward to it every year. It's always really fun for me. This is the only thing on the list that actually costs money, but I will go to my local grocery store and pay $6 for a fresh bouquet of flowers. And this isn't anything fancy. I don't think I've ever spent more than that at the grocery store, but I will get like a happy color, whichever ones look the healthiest and the bounciest, and I will just take them home and then process them by cutting off the stems and everything and put them into a bunch of different vases. I love spreading them around the house. It just instantly adds cheer and brightness and life to these rooms that have been sad because of wintertime. I love that they're real. I love that they are fragrant and that they are changing and that they aren't forever. These aren't flowers I'm going to pull out every single year because they're real and they're temporary and fleeting. And I feel like that's what a really good representation of spring is, especially in my area. Spring really only lasts for a couple weeks and then it's pretty much summer. So I really love having the flowers. It just brings me so much joy. It's always something that I kind of double guess myself on, where I'm like, it's not really gonna make that big of a difference. I don't need to spend the money. And then I spend the money and I bring them home and I'm just I just love them so much, and it makes me so happy. And I don't know, it's just one of those things that is like such a simple joy and such a simple thing, but it really does make a difference. And fake flowers just don't really do that same amount of work for me. They don't bring that same amount of joy. They don't really fill that need for life in the springtime the way that real ones do. I love refreshing my space, and I do this in a frugal and cheap way every single year. And the way I do that is I just go through my house and I swap all of my heavy blankets. In the winter time, I have all of these heavy blankets and throws everywhere because our house gets pretty chilly. So I will either just roll them up and put them in storage, or I will swap them out for lighter blankets to have around, and then put the heavier ones in a basket in the living room so that if we need extra, we still have them out. Our bed in particular, we have a really light quilt because of where we live, and the heavy blanket is only out for 2 or 3 months of the year. And in the spring, I always just roll it up, wash it up, and then put it in storage for the next year, and it works really well. And just having that blanket put up just changes the space a little bit and kind of gives you a refresh. And in that case, I didn't buy anything, I didn't add anything, I actually took something away. And I think that can feel really refreshing, especially in the spring. We've just been going through all of the holidays, so we've been having decor everywhere and finding new places for gifts, and it can feel really overwhelming and like there's just a lot of stuff. And so taking things out and putting them into storage can really help with that feeling of feeling refreshed. This is also the time of year where I do the classic spring cleaning. And I wish more people would get into this just because it is so genuinely helpful. This is something that was a societal thing that people used to do every single spring. You'd go through your house, clean everything, mop everything, wash everything, every single nook and cranny. And it's something we've really gotten away from. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because people rent more or if we just, it's like lost knowledge or something, but I really recommend spring cleaning. I go through and I will wipe down all of the baseboards. I will wash all of the windows. I will shake out the curtains. I'll do my best to clean the rugs and under the rugs. I will get up in the ceilings and try to dust out all of the corners so there's no cobwebs. I just do all these little things that I just honestly don't do as often throughout the year. And by doing that, I mean, one, it obviously cleans the house. And then two, it helps me to take inventory of any little projects that need to be done or just the state of our home. Is there like a big area that needs to be repainted, or noticing if something has peeled up? These are all things that like a house or a building requires maintenance. And so in order to do the maintenance, you have to know that it needs it. So doing the spring cleaning helps us to keep tabs on our home and kind of see where we're at each year, and is there anything that needs to be fixed or replaced or repainted. During spring cleaning, I try to do this as early as I can, but I will open up all of the windows while I'm cleaning them and just air out the entire house. I don't really know if there's a scientific thing about that being helpful, but I know for me it just makes me feel better just to get all of the old air out and have spring air flow through. It just makes me really happy, and it makes the whole house smell so fresh and so clean. You definitely want to do this before the pollen starts coming. I don't know if it's the same in other places, but I've only really experienced it here in Louisiana, where in the springtime everything is covered in yellow dust, and it's because the pollen is so bad that you can actually see it, and then you have to wait for like the first real rain to come to wash it all away so it's all clean again. It is insane. I also believe that spring kind of gives me this urge to think about the future a bit more, and not in any like existential, not in any meaningful way, just like the actual day-to-day future of things. And this kind of manifests itself in two different ways. The first way is with making a spring bucket list. I love to do this with every single season. I will make a bucket list of things that we want to do in that season. It's full of cheap things, basic things, not anything crazy. It could be things like a picnic, or going for a bike ride, or going to a park, or sitting outside and watching the clouds. It could be literally anything as simple and small as that. It gets me in the mindset of the next season. It gets me excited for the next season. And then as someone who has a really hard time making decisions, and I feel really overwhelmed sometimes with the pressure of squeezing out the joy of every single season, the bucket list really helps me to just kind of see the things that I want to do on paper. And so if we ever have a free afternoon, or if we have a free weekend coming up, I can look at the list and we can just pick one. And that makes it so easy and so fun. And then I keep the lists and I put them in our photo album at the end of the year so that we can look back and just kind of see what we did that year. And I think it's really fun. So in that way, it gets me thinking about the upcoming season and what things we're going to do, or what is a part of spring and what do we look forward to most. It kind of gets me excited for that. In a more logistical sense, I like to take a look at my cooking menu. This is not that serious. I don't have a physical menu that I kind of just have like a mental list of meals that I tend to prepare, that I just kind of be like, oh yeah, we're gonna make this soup this week, or we're gonna make a shepherd's pie or something. Like, those are just things that I have on my mind. And the spring gives me the opportunity to think about what meal ideas I have and kind of go back and think about, what did I make last summer, and what did we really enjoy, and what worked and what didn't, and which things do I have in my current menu that I can swap out, that are maybe a little bit more winter, that we can swap out for more summer, spring type things. So for example, on Mondays, I've been making some form of soup or chili or stew, a big one pot type meal. This is the time of year where I would reflect on that, and we would probably swap it out for Monday pizza nights. Just stuff like that, that kind of makes the meals a little bit more fun. It's more fun for me because I'm not getting stuck in a rut. It's embracing that change of a new season, right? So it's taking the old menu, shaking it up a little bit, and then helping us to move into a new season. As I was saying before, spring, just like everything else, has kind of been just taken over by this idea that we have to spend money and we have to have all these activities and all these outfits and all these things just to embrace the season. And I hope that I've been able to give some alternatives to how you can embrace the season in spring. Like I said, I've been doing these things for years and I love them. And even if you're already doing these things, I think it can be helpful to hear someone else say that they're not spending money. I'm not spending money on these things this season. I think the only things I'm actually gonna buy for this springtime is probably like chalk or something to actually, do chalk on the sidewalk or something like that. It doesn't have to be elaborate, and it doesn't have to be a bunch of decor with bunnies on it, and it doesn't have to be a bunch of fake flowers, and it doesn't have to be anything like that. It can be so simple, and it can be really quiet and not crazy or busy or stressful. So I would love to know what you do to embrace the spring season, because I would always love more ideas for that. And if you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe and maybe share it with a friend. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.